Hello and welcome to My Mom's Basement, presented by Barstool Sports and 3G. I am your host, Robbie Fox. Along with me is my co host, Clem, and we are here to break down Andor Episode 10, One Way Out, which I am
One way
ready to call.
out. One
One
way
Way Out.
out.
One
One
Way
way
Out.
out.
I'm ready to call one of the greatest episodes of Star Wars television ever, regardless of show. Put this up there with the best episodes of The Mandalorian. Put it up there with season 2 finale. This is the most serious, mature Star Wars we've ever seen, and I am loving it more and more by the week.
This was the episode. There's always an episode where you're saying, okay, this is when the show went from good to potentially great. There's The Wire. There's an episode where they figure out the code. I won't give it away for people who haven't watched The Wire like 20 years ago. I remember from that point on, it's like, oh crap. The Ned Stark episode of Game of Thrones is the one everyone says kind of changed it. And I think this could be the episode where Andor goes to the holy shit. I saw our boy Feidelberg said he is going to give Andor a shot. The buzz is out there. This is the sound of a rebellion. The people are rising and they want Andor, and the Basement Boys called it day one once again.
Day one, go back to that review of episodes 1 through 3. We were telling you this is going to be a special show. We could tell right away this had a different feel, it had a different vibe to it. The acting is just on another level. That was what blew me away the most out of anything in this episode. The acting from Stellan Skarsgård and Andy Serkis in particular. Holy shit, it blew me away. There were multiple moments in episode 10 where I got chills. And it was an episode where I watched it in the morning as soon as I woke up. And then I went into the office, had a bunch of stuff to do. I couldn't help myself but pull up Disney Plus and rewatch little bits and pieces of the episode here and there because I was still so fired up. And everyone in the office felt the exact same way. Everyone I talked to about it, Jeff, Ken, Jack, Gooch, they're like, this show is way better than we ever could have imagined.
Just absolutely crushed it. Andy Serkis, it's like holy shit. Everyone you could go down the list, but that was the Andy Serkis episode. I think that was it.
So, I
know what I mean?
Give this guy an Emmy. Give him a Golden Globe if you're still doing Golden Globes. Give him all the awards.
Give him the Duncan Award. Give him
we'll give him a Duncan Award. Whoa, if I have mine on my desk still, he could have it. That's how much I love Andy Serkis. All right, let's get into this episode. A lot to break down, obviously. A lot to break out. Ooh. See what I did there? We open right where the last episode left off with Olaf's body being taken out on kind of the hoverboard stretcher. And Andor brings Kino into a room, Andy Serkis' character, and he's like, we have to strike tomorrow. Like, new prisoners coming in to replace Olaf. It has to be tomorrow. And Andy Serkis is still not completely sold on it. I think he wants to be sold on we could break out of this prison, but he's like, you sound fucking crazy. And Andor's like, no. You need to listen to me. They have power, but power doesn't panic. They panicked, and they know they don't have enough guards. So they'll try to get more guards here, but if we strike tomorrow, there's no saving them. And obviously, that's when the plan kind of starts. And Andor and warn them.
Their faces too, like Andy Serkis' face, you could see like the two sides where he's like, I agree, but I'm also scared to actually go about it. And then you just see Andor is so passionate about it, and you're like, I'm just at home saying, oh shit, yeah, they have to do this now. This is the only time in a sick way. R.I.P. my dog Olaf. But he gave them the opening that they needed to have this. There's really no other way that could have happened unless someone else died. The way they took him through the fucking floor too, like the working floor, that was cold, man. Like you just
crazy. The whole episode was cold. That's the word I would use to describe this episode. It was fucking cold. Multiple moments. Andor and Kino warn all of the prisoners in their hallway, in their cell block, where Kino has this great moment where he screams, "No one is getting out," and it's like, oh shit, everyone listens to him when he has his voice go up like that, and says nobody's leaving, not anytime soon. They're making up our sentences as we go along. Like, let's put our heads back in our cell and let's figure this shit out. And it's like, oh shit, here we go. And then we cut to Dedra and the ISBs. Dedra informs her commanding officer that they bought the car crash. When they set up Anto Krieger's pilot, just drifted him out into traffic and everything. They're like, they bought it. We're just going to leave it alone. And someone from behind says, how about we don't leave it alone? Actually, if this were in reality, we would probably go check it out. So let's go check it out. And they love that idea. The assistant does give kind of a weird look to Qyburn or whatever. And I thought immediately, like, is this guy a weirdo? Obviously, later on in the episode, we find out. Not much of a weirdo, more of a spy. Getting into more espionage.
I had him on the sus list immediately because of that look, which seemed a little extra, but it obviously it does make sense. He also did a good job. We've said this about all the Imperials. 90% of them have that extra slimy, just almost like a layer of grease on their face, and they just seem like real slimy scumbags. And he absolutely nailed it. I didn't see was what came. I didn't see it coming, but it was a great setup. And it is true. You think about all the time you have the Imperials whenever a ship would come, and usually have someone hiding in the fucking compartment somewhere, but they would go on, they check it out. Usually they'd have stormtroopers, but obviously there's no stormtroopers here, at least that we've seen. And I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what the Imperials would do. They fucking, and how many times do you hear this in the Star Wars universe where it's like they're just following the Imperial handbook? Like it's like you know exactly what they're gonna do, and it would have been kind of weird. Also, just hearing the name Anton Krieger, I'm just like, what a fucking name! I just love that. That guy is
a really good one.
Intimidating.
A really good name, and maybe he went to Luthen at the end to be like, "Listen, I gotta wash this slime off my face. It's been 6 years. I can't do the slime anymore. Like it's just slime. Too much." So Kino says at the beginning of the shift, there's one way out. Let's make this look good. There's no point in warning the night shift. They're going to find out. Let's just go do this. So they go in, their shift starts. We learn that, we cut back to Ferrix for just a second, learn that Marva is stashing her pills, and there's a whole issue with her medicine. It's meant not making her hungry. It was a quick, like, little brief thing with Marva. I hope she's doing all right. She's like the mom of the show.
Marva she's in that, like, grandma and like old grandma on her way out mode where they just start doing really crazy shit, and you can tell like her kids are just losing their mind trying to watch her. That's what Marva has become, and it doesn't feel good. I feel like if Marva was in her fucking, not even her prime, but her late prime, or just not losing her pills, we'd have a real difference maker right now. But I don't know, maybe we talked about this, I think, again, like episode 1. It feels like a sacrifice kind of thing coming from Marva here, right?
Definitely. And I think it's going to be a noble one. I think it's going to inspire Andor a lot, but yeah, she's not making it out of season 1, I don't think.
Yeah, if this is a survivor pool, we're having a survivor Andor pool, you pick Marva, God bless you. Like that's the last round pick. Hell, if you're doing a Deadpool the other way around, Marva is, did you say Marva's like a first round pick?
Yeah.
Number 1, are we talking 1-1?
I'm talking 1-1.
Imagine if Eddie threw an Andor death pool as his dog walk draft next week. That would come out of nowhere. They wouldn't see that coming.
And B2 Emo has to make it out. Let me just say that. We watched the saddest death ever with K2SO and Rogue One. We can't do another droid death like that. Make sure B2 Emo makes it out, and he could be a nice companion. I want to see B2 Emo talk to K2 next season.
But Bix, I don't want to say this.
But can he not talk to K2SO because he would say KKK2SO?
Oh, problematic. Imagine a droid getting canceled on Star Wars. That would be a fucking storyline.
They just destroy it like a printer in Office Space.
I don't want to say this because this show is really cooking right now, and we were in on the ground floor on it. But I think if they kill B2 Emo, I might have to be out just on principle alone. It's like, and it's just that show that everyone watches except for you. And you're just like, yep. And they're like, well, why don't you watch it? You're a Star Wars guy. It's a good show. It's like, they killed the droid. And that was my fucking dude. He had a cute little stutter. I think he might be my second favorite droid right now outside of R2-D2 in the Star Wars.
Holy shit. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. K2, I guess K2 is up there as well. And for all the slander, the unmitigated slander he got when we went on with Ken Jack and Gooch on their long take, I fucking love C-3PO. He's an asshole, he's a dick, but he's our asshole. He's our dick. That's true. He helps. He's one of the straws that stirs the drink in the Star Wars universe.
It's true. And I like what you said before about this show kind of spreading like the rebellion. Feidelberg watching it, other people in the office watching it. It truly is. It feels like this show spread word of mouth style. It's crazy. From the beginning, us saying, I wish more people were talking about it. Like, we don't even have to watch the episode when it first comes out because nobody's talking about it. To this week, watching it the second we woke up, you hashtag Andor on Twitter. There are such funny memes all over Twitter. Like, people are absolutely loving this show at this point. This show's also done a lot of scumbags very well. As soon as you see him, you know, all right, you're a scumbag. This was another one. Mon Mothma meets with Davos Skolden, who my girlfriend called Davos Scrotum. She was like, is that the Scrotum guy? I was like, yep, this is the Scrotum guy.
I thought you were going to say Davos Scoundrel, a little Han Solo flashback there.
No, he doesn't deserve that. He doesn't deserve that word. He meets with her.
Word. That S word is our word. That's the real.
He's a total asshole. I mean, he's the scumbag S word. And from the moment he sits down, you could sense the sleaziness on him, where he's like, "So, you need money?" And Take Home is like, "All right, you know this. Like, we already talked about all this." He's like, "I want to hear her say it." And
Oh.
she's like, "Oh, that gave me the heebie-jeebies just to hear him say." He kind of like talks through it, and he's like, "Okay, I'll do it for a favor." And she's like, "I don't want to owe a favor. Like, please don't be offended, but I would much rather pay you for your services and not have to owe you something in the future." He's like, "I'd like to bring my 14-year-old son here. I'd like an invite back." She's like, "All right, I could invite you back." He's like, "I'd like to bring my 14-year-old son." And now us Game of Thrones guys, we know where
Yep.
this is going right away. We're like, Tay, no, you cut him off and escort him out. Don't even let him tell Mon what he wants to do. But Davos says, "Yeah, I think they're coming of age. I'm not saying they have to marry, but I think it'd be nice to introduce them. 13 and 14. It's about that time for them." Excuse me?
Dude, I felt like I was back in House of the Dragon again. I was like, oh, we're
Yeah.
doing fucking betrothals right now. We're dealing with people who may not be friends, but may not be trying to be enemies becoming friends, friends becoming enemies. I can't believe we're back in this shit again. I swear to God, if we're going back into incest, I'm out. Don't bring incest into this shit, Star Wars. I like this show too much. Don't throw the incest in. God
Well,
damn
the
it.
original trilogy
That
gave
is
you a
that
fair
is
go
true.
of that.
We've already dabbled, and you know what? I'm looking. Oh, they're both named George. Lucas and R.R. Martin.
Oh,
That is some
is that a
shit right
George
there.
thing?
It's a George.
Interesting.
That feels like a George thing. If all right, listeners, if you're a George and you're into incest, tweet at us and let us know. We have to know if this is a George thing. No offense. No offense.
No.
I'm not going to say not that there's anything wrong, because there is something wrong with that. I think it's a proven fact. But this is a fucked up thing. But we might be onto something right now. The Georges. The what is it? The rule of two. The rule of George.
Let's tell the people about Game Time really quick. This is the exclusive ticketing partner of Barstool Sports, created by fans for fans. Game Time is the ticketing app that makes it easier than ever to score last-minute tickets on deals to tickets to sports, concerts, shows, and more. They guarantee the lowest price as well. If you haven't given them a shot yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. There's so many great things going on right now. You could go to an NHL game, NBA game, get tickets to the Radio City Christmas music spectacular, whatever they call it nowadays. We've had tons of Barstool fans using it, hitting us up on social about the great deals they're getting. I've been using it all year to go to concerts left and right. It's another thing, it's not just sports, it's not just games. Go to concerts and shows as well. Disney on Ice, Bluey, as we had people tweet us last week. So download the app, go to the account tab to create a login, and redeem the code BASEMENT for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, but I'm telling you, it's so easy to use. Amazing deals. Fastest growing ticketing app in the U.S. You're going to love it. Download Game Time. Last minute tickets at lowest price guaranteed. I love Game Time. Just went to see the 1975. Shout out Game Time for that. Amazing show. I would recommend people going to see that tour with Game Time.
It makes it so much easier to just be like, let me give this a shot. And I think everyone took a little, obviously we ought to take a break from all these live shows and shit. Just being able to get there and do it a little cheaper. Can't go wrong. Shout out Game Time.
Absolutely. All right. Now we go to Luthen, and his assistant or whoever that is in the shop with him says, like, hey, he wants to talk. And we do that he thing where it's like, okay, we're guessing now. Who are we guessing? And I like Andor because we know it's so removed from the Star Wars universe that it's never like is it going to be Mace Windu? Is it going to be Mephisto?
Yes.
I'm never racing to guess like what fan favorite character we're going to get. I'm like, okay, it's going to be a new character. And they're doing a good job building these new characters. Davo, they built him as a scumbag before we even met him. Uncle Harlow, we still don't know about Uncle Harlow.
I was hoping it was Uncle Harlow, Bob.
Like, what is Uncle Harlow going to be like? And Luthen says, I'm surprised it's taken him so long. It's been a year since we've talked. And that's all we hear until the end of the episode from Luthen. We go back to Andor and the prison, and it's time for the prison break, Clem. And this prison break felt so earned because we saw him in the previous episodes, sawing away almost Shawshank style at those pipes. We saw him go over and over again. What is he doing with those pipes? It turns out that they're water pipes, and he is trying to break it, and he's really struggling, sawing, breaking, and it looks great to deactivate the floor, which I was immediately like, oh, no, duh, you got to get the heat floor done. So short that, he succeeds. He has a brief struggle with it, but he succeeds. He gets the water pouring out. And then as the new prisoner's coming in, two of the guys from his table start a fake fight. He jams the elevator, and the prison break begins. Like, they're off to the races immediately. They're climbing on top of the elevator. They're climbing on top of the poles. They're throwing tools at the people in a very Ewok,
I got the same
versus the
vibes.
Empire thing, right? It's like them throwing rocks and twigs. They're throwing their wrenches, they're throwing their extra spare parts up, and a lot of them are getting shot while this is happening. Like you see, there's a sacrifice to be made for this prison break. People are going to die, and unfortunately, they do as they're on their way up. But the water shorts the system, and it saves Kino's life. He's on the floor, like right where the puddle like ended, and then the prison break is off to the races. Pretty much when the floor is off, it's like okay, you have no power over us anymore.
When the floor went off, it feels like when the T-Rex cage is no longer electrified in Jurassic Park, and you're like, oh shit, danger is coming, except it's the good danger.
Yes.
In this case, instead of just a bunch of dinosaurs can just run wild and at the handful of humans that are in the park. And that got me fired up when they were screaming, attack, attack. And then One Way Out. Again, One Way Out is
One Way Out, so good.
I was trying to think, I'm like, how do we make that a shirt? I'm hoping there's some, I was like, can they tie it into an existing, like, is there an OWO somewhere in like the background of episode 4 or something, right? Where it's like,
yeah,
that was something that was the rebellion was built around. See, and before the entire prison break happened, seeing these guys lacing up their pumps made me laugh. Like these poor saps have no fucking clue what is about to come for them. And I mean, Andy Serkis or Andor said it best earlier in the episode. He goes, I'd rather die trying to take them down than die give them what they want. And these motherfuckers were ready to rock. And it's like I wasn't happy to see any of the prisoners die, but it did make it feel legit. It made it feel like a real sacrifice.
And like people we know were dying. Like not big characters, but there was that one guy like that was at the table. I think he's one of the guys that started the fight. You see him get shot, and you're like, oh shit, like, all right, he's gone.
Yep. And the electrocution on the floor, you're just like, oh, that must fucking suck so goddamn much. I also wasn't sure with the water coming how if the floor would just shut down or if it would cause an absolute chaos with electricity. I don't know how all that shit was going to play out. So it was gnarly, man. And also just kind of nice seeing people with blasters actually hit their targets.
There wasn't a lot of swinging and missing here.
I
like what you said about the quote too, like I'd rather, give myself for something real than whatever. That's like Luthen's quote that went to Andor, that went to Kino, that Kino said over the loudspeaker. That's the rebellion spreading right there. Like it's the same line, it's the same thought process of why the rebellion works. And we were talking about, is Luthen the number one guy at the rebellion? Is he like number one? He's putting all this together. After this episode, I kind of think he is. Like after the last monologue and everything, I think he's the guy.
At least he thinks he's the guy, because like the way he says it all, it makes you feel like it. But we were saying because Mr. Axis, and it's like, is he the Axis or is there a bunch of them? And I think we might have our answer. We'll find out more obviously throughout the series.
It's amazing, and it makes the original trilogy better in the same way that Rogue One does. In that I look at the original trilogy, I hear many Bothans died to bring us this information. I'm like, that was probably a fucking gritty ass mission. They probably did die some horrible deaths, like. And when we get the win at the end of Return of the Jedi for the good guys, it's going to feel better. You're like, Andor, you know what? I know you weren't here to see this, but that was for you, man. That was for you.
That's true. And Mon Mothma, you're thinking how that's, you're thinking that actress and then this actress, and you can see like the same, I don't want to say sadness, but emotion that they wear
numbness
when they're talking.
Almost.
Yes, exactly. And like you said, the many Bothans, I have thought about them. Like, oh, that must have been a massacre. And I don't even know what Bothans look like, but that shit ain't good.
Oh, you don't? They're in Star Wars Battlefront 2. I played a couple of games of Battlefront 2 yesterday just to, take the edge off, as the kids say.
I'm looking it up right now. I'll tell you. I was pretty close. My mental thought of a Bothan, I thought it kind of looks like wolf people, I guess.
Yeah,
would be
with the ears, right? They have like the pointy ears.
Yeah. I thought they were like a little furry or whatever. I never figured they were just like, humans or anything like that. And I thought they were a little shorter. I would like, maybe it's an Ewok thing. I don't know. But okay. So we're right there. We're right there.
Also, the Mon Mothma stuff in the original trilogy, I feel like is kind of the moment where kids like run away. They get their toys, they gear up for the final battle. Now, if I'm watching the original trilogy, I see Mon Mothma, I'm going to be like, fucking, yo, all you X-Wing pilots, pay attention. You know what she did to get here? Pay attention.
And for the record, we didn't mention this earlier. I would, if I'm Mon Mothma, that little fucking bitch daughter of mine, I would have shipped her ass out so fast to get the money to pay for the rebellion. Are you kidding me? That's the girl that she's defending. Mon Mothma's a fucking saint, because I'll tell you right now, if my kids were as shitty as her kid is, I would have betrothed her to Davos scumbag's fucking 14-year-old. And you know, Davos scumbag's kid is a scumbag as well. Like father, like son, 100%, right?
He's got to be the worst. He's got to be like the worst kid imaginable, like a 90s sitcom. Like, yeah, the cousins comes over and it's like, you know, he's got snot coming out of his nose. It's clear. You're like, oh my God, I don't even want to shake this guy's hand.
I thought you were going to say Sid from Toy Story, and that's who I was thinking. I'm thinking a little Sid from Toy Story potentially.
No, that's a good one.
A rich kid, Sid from Toy Story, because this guy obviously has money. Sid is like kind of poor, low key poor, or just I wouldn't say poor, a shitty family situation, we'll say. And even the way Davo talks about her husband, where he's like, "Oh, the marriage," and you're like, "Oh yeah, that guy's a scumbag as a husband as well."
He's probably friends with the husband too. Like the way that the husband is gonna turn on Mon Mothma, turn her in. He's gonna do something by the end of the season that's gonna really piss me off.
Mon, if you're listening to the podcast right now, listen.
Get out.
Betroth the daughter now, because she's going to end up turning on you as well. Betroth her ass to this 14-year-old Sid and just get the money for rebellion and just find the rebellion's your family now, Mon. The other family, they're fucking gone. The rebellion's your family. Get those fucking nerds. You're too good for them anyway. They don't deserve you. And going back to the prison break, we said this in episode 1. It was definitely episode 1. Our boy Andor, he aims to kill, man. He doesn't fuck around. I love he's just killing these dudes who are on the ground. He's like, boom, dead, boom, dead.
I cheered every time, by the way. Yeah, every single time. I was like, yeah. He gets a blaster. It kind of looks like the blaster he had in Rogue One. I don't know if it is or not. It'd be kind of cool if, like,
that'd be cool.
The blaster, but he swims all the way at the end. It probably isn't. Kind of reminded me of it, though. And he starts shooting people. He starts handing out blasters to other prisoners, which is like, oh, this is the Billy Madison. Oh, now you're in big trouble. Now that Andor's got a blaster, you're in big trouble. They start freeing the other floors on their way up, which one of these guys reminded me of Suit Man. I think it was one of the guys that like freed one of the floors. He runs out there and he's like, grab a weapon and fight. We're leaving this place. And they cut to the prison, and it made me laugh, I think, unintentionally, because they were all just like confused for a second. And then the elevator started coming down, and they went, yeah! Like, they were like, well, you got to help us up, though, because we're stuck if you don't.
That was so great. The one floor where they see the water coming down, and they're confused at first.
The flood, yeah.
Yeah, and they're just clearing out. You just see the mass of humanity going around. They come to the floor, let the people know they're free. Elevator goes down, and everyone's fucking thrilled. And then it's just like, oh, boy, we're gathering a fucking, like, army of inmates here. And it's weird rooting for a prison break when it's like legit prisoners who have done bad things in life. It's also like kind of cool though. Let's be honest. Like Con Air is a fun movie. We all love amazing. Con Air, right? Yeah. I've never seen the show Prison Break, but I imagine it was pretty fucking cool.
I'm in the same boat. Yeah.
Yeah. This is like most of these people are probably in for some bullshit sentences, just like Andor was, right? Yeah. So and the Empire we know is full of nothing but awful people. These guys all kind of like they flaunted their power with their little electrocution shit and the floors that can obviously fry you in an instant. So I was with you, Bob. I was cheering the entire time, and I was just like, oh, this is fucking. Let's kill all these motherfuckers. And when they said "on program" to the other people, and it's like, do you like that?
Good.
I love when the tables get turned on like dickheads who have power.
And obviously we know that this is a very secret prison. Everything about the prison is secret, from the reshuffling of the inmates to the killing of them because they don't want this word to get out. We've been asking, what are they making? Are they making TIE fighter parts? Are they making this? Are they making that? I'm not sure what the timeline of the Death Star's construction is, but I feel like the Death Star would like make the most sense for the secrecy. I don't know if it would be the first Death Star. I don't know if they would already be trying to construct a second Death Star before the first one was destroyed. That, in my mind, is kind of what they were building, like parts to the Death Star.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out the very same thing because
we see it sort of we see the dish getting put on in Rogue One. Maybe they're building that.
And I'm like, do they want to be that attached to Star Wars? Because it seems like they are kind of taking a separate path to all this. But at the same point, I also don't know timeline and stuff like that, which I'm sure there's like much nerdier podcasts like, oh no, the Death Star could have been built, and this could have been the 98th% complete portion of it, but it does feel
like it could be that.
Yeah, I agree, because there's nothing. It's not like they're just building something for like a random Star Destroyer or anything like that. They're
I don't
building,
think so.
It's mass-produced shit for something that is probably really big and really strong and really important. And as we know through episodes 4 through 6, it's basically just 2 motherfucking Death Stars.
Yeah. Andor and Kino get into the control room. This is where they make the 2 guys go on program. They also shoot one of them to make their point right away. Badass. They were like, we're not going to give... And they were like, all right, your buddy's dead. Are you going to give us up now? And they're like, yep, on program. All for you.
I got Pulp Fiction vibes. We said, oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
Great reference. One of the main guy in this room looked like Nathan Fielder to me. Looked like Nathan Fielder with like gray hair. And Cassian tells him to go on program and then tells Kino, it's all you. Make your announcement. Tell the prison what's happening right now. And he doesn't know how to do it at first. And I didn't know if he was going to be able to do it. The way Andy Serkis plays this scene is so well, where his voice is shaking. He's got tears in his eyes. He's kind of like, is this happening? Like, is this real? We're really about to break out of this fucking prison. I've been here for God knows how long, Andy Serkis, his character. And he grows his confidence kind of throughout the speech. He starts giving it, we're going to make it our way out of this prison. And Andor's like, is that all you fucking got, dude? Come on. Like, I know you got more than that. Tell them
Give it to me from your balls, Serkis. Get down in there. Give it to me.
And he does. And he quotes Andor to do it, which I thought was so powerful. Like I said before, too, in just that it's Luthen's quote going through Andor, going through Kino, going to all the prisoners. You're showing the rebellion spread like wildfire. You're seeing the injustice that the Empire is putting on the whole galaxy, and you're understanding why people could join this fight, even if it seems like we are the tiny, scrappy rebellion who's got nothing. It's worth fighting for something, right? Than dying for nothing. So that's what they all start doing. We start doing the one way out, one way out. The prisoners start all escaping for real. And then we make it to, God, a heartbreaking portion of this episode. They make it out.
Don't you cry on me, Bob Fox.
They see the horizon. Don't you cry on me. They see the horizon. And Andy Serkis says, I can't swim. You need to swim to make it out of this prison. Quite a far away, might I add. Like a far away. And he says, I can't swim. And I'm like, oh, it's okay. Cassian can definitely just bring him like Titanic or I don't know. Like, you could make him the raft. I don't know. And then Cassian just gets pushed over because everyone's trying to get out. Obviously, he falls. And that's the last we hear of our guy. And I'm going to make a reference right now that you're not going to enjoy. I've made the reference before in the podcast, and you say, don't bring that name up on the podcast, but I have to. This reminded me of Bing Bong and Inside Out.
Oh, why did you do it?
It did. I was like, no. But it's Bing Bong being like, you couldn't have done it without him. And he's the one stranded there at the end.
And he's going to die because of it. And that is a good fucking call, Bob Fox. This is why the people tune in. They didn't see, they had their heart broken by Kino, and they didn't know it was only going to get worse when they turned on this episode. God damn it.
Did it break your heart as much as it broke my heart?
I'm thinking like you. I'm like, I take you, Kino. Come with me. I'm like saying it for Andor, and then he just gets trampled over. Which, by the way, the stampede that happened in like one of the rooms in the prisons or the workshops earlier, and you're just like, oh shit, that's exactly what happened. Everyone's just there's not like, hey, all for one. Once you just see it, you're going, and it just fucking gutted me. And I'm like,
I thought he was going to die this episode too. I truly thought like he's going to sacrifice himself for the prison break and all of that. And when you see him make it to the end, and you're like, you did it, man. Like, I want more of Andy Serkis in the show now. I want more of him and Diego Luna going back and forth. I want to see him meet Stellan Skarsgård and them have a conversation back and forth. But I don't know if we're going to get that. I mean, obviously the door's open for it. I think you could, go back to that prison in season 2 and say, is there anyone left over? I don't know. But I would love to see more personally.
Yeah, me too. And I'm kind of in like the stages of grief right now where I'm in like denial. I'm like, oh no, he's just gonna like wash up on the shore and he's gonna see Serkis and we're gonna be fine. But it does feel like this rebellion, the 95% of the people who did the most stuff and probably some of the most important people and the people that just were the fucking leaders of it all aren't gonna see that fucking, after the second Death Star blows up and everyone's fucking dancing for joy during the fireworks scene as what's the name of the
Yub
Nub. I always get the letters wrong. It just feels like guys like Kino, guys like Andor, obviously in Rogue One, they don't get to go through all the trilogy and all that shit. And it feels like if you're one of the people that has made it to episode 6, it's like there's like 20 of us. Wedge is one of those guys, and let alone people that how many of those people made it from the rebellion back at this point were predating the Battle of Yavin. I just feel like this is kind of a reminder that a lot of the really important people from the pre-Death Star battle, they don't even make it that far. So I hope it's not the case, but fuck, man. And that's such a shitty way to go out, not knowing how to swim out of all the fucking ways to get off of that base. Would you rather him try to swim or like try to figure out another way out? Like if it was like the sequel trilogy, someone would have been like, I'm a pilot, and they would have flown out of it.
Oh, come on, the slander.
I had to do it. You brought up Bing Bong. I'm gonna slander the sequel trilogy.
Did he know the whole time? Did he know that they're in the middle of the ocean, and that's part of the reason why he's almost crying and choking up, because he's like, everyone's getting out but me?
I feel like when you're in that prison, you're like the world outside of you isn't even real anymore. Yeah. So I'm sure he was just like, oh, fuck, that's right. This is a war. And you're probably thinking, you don't know enough about the planet. Like, oh, there might be like the other side is just a beach planet and a water planet, right? And it's like, hey, everything's going to be fine. We're going to walk in the sand like Andy after the prison break, after Red meets him down in San Juan Teneo. Nope, fucking nothing but water for as far as you can see. And I'm like, how the hell are these guys
for a second I thought it was a twist in that, like, oh, there's no making it out.
They're fucked, right? Yeah, I was thinking the same.
And then you kind of see, like, far away, probably like 2-3 miles away, you see the beach or whatever, and it's like, oh, okay, I guess they could swim that far. But in the end, when we see like the final shot of the episode is Andor and Melshi running away, Melshi being one of the guys that is with him in Rogue One, and it's just the two of them. So I'm like, how many prisoners did like actually be able to make it to land?
Yeah, exactly. And how many of them survive? But the ones that survive, they know the atrocities that are going on in there. They know, like, if you picked up on it when you're being booked, you know that all these other planets, right? Because they're like, oh, which one is he going to? So, there's a lot of this shit going on. The Empire is just not letting anybody know. And it's only going to fuel people to rise up for the rebellion and then to help out all the other people that are being imprisoned out there. Because, I mean, that's pure evil shit right there, right?
Yeah.
You're talking concentration camps or prison camps and all this kind of stuff. So you're really seeing the rebellion grow, like, theoretically as well. It's crazy. I never thought in a million years we'd have a Star Wars show that would be this fucking deep, especially after Obi-Wan and Book of Boba Fett this year. You're just like, it's the fucking dragon meme, but it's like two dragons with their eyes crossed and then one mean motherfucker, and that mean motherfucker is Andor. Like,
and
this is
crazy. So like, I enjoyed those shows. I don't mean to pick on them, but when you watch this episode, if you just showed someone like one of the chase scenes from one of those shows, either the Spy Kids one or the flea going after Princess Leia in the jungle, they would be like, what are you talking about? This made by the same people. No, it's not. Like, no way.
Put the I need someone to do that. Someone needs to do that, like some Star Wars fan. They need to do the flea chasing Princess Leia, the Spy Kids chasing, and then the scene of the prisoners clearing out the prison.
Or like Stellan Skarsgård's monologue at the end. Where
yeah.
I sleep with ghosts. It's like, oh my God.
Like, these are from the three are from the same fucking cinematic universe, released in the same year on the same channel or whatever you want to call it. It's fucking crazy. Also, speaking of the chasing, if you're those guards, I loved how they showed how terrified they were. Like, don't say anything, be quiet, just absolute cowards. I was saying, if I was a guard, I think I would have just like changed into a prisoner's gear, like just found an extra pair of clothes and be like, fuck these guys, let's get out of here. And at that point, you probably know a way to get like off the base. Like, oh no, if you guys make a left here, there's like an underwater tunnel. You don't have to swim for 3 miles to get to the fucking beach or something like that. So I was already trying to figure out, if I was a guard, how I would have snaked my way out of that fucking prison, other than just like the one little cattle prod I have to take down 100,000 fired up prisoners.
So obviously in this episode, there's a lot of wet floors that were great for the prisoners. We enjoyed the wet floors, but generally you don't like a wet floor because you could injure yourself on it. And Morgan & Morgan is America's largest personal injury law firm. They have over 800 attorneys and offices all around the country. Going up against big companies for the money you deserve requires having the big guns on your side. Kind of a rebels versus empire feel in that line, to be honest. And honestly, whether you're in a car accident, you wish you hired a lawyer, whether you're in a mess, you don't know how to navigate the situation, Morgan & Morgan is here for you. Whether you're injured, when you're injured, you deserve more. Morgan & Morgan has more offices, more lawyers, and more than $15 billion recovered with a B. $15 billion recovered. Even better, they're completely free to work with unless you win your case. That's like amazing. I mean, it's a no-brainer to work with Morgan & Morgan. So if you're injured, forthepeople.com. Visit forthepeople, F-O-R, thepeople.com/basement to see if you have a case. It's no cost to you. It's forthepeople.com/basement. We love Morgan & Morgan. They were giving away UFC tickets this weekend. I'll be at UFC 281. Morgan & Morgan also works with the UFC. They work with a bunch of different podcasts. Barstool, pardon my take. I was just telling Clem they sent Big Cat, Hank, and PFT the Morgan & Morgan Air Force Ones.
I love that.
I'd like some Morgan & Morgan Air Force Ones. Let me just throw that out there, obviously.
What size shoe are you, Bob?
11.
I was going to say, I bet Bob Fox has a sneaky, like, big shoe because you're a sneaky tall kid. So
yeah.
I'm a 13.
People actually said that to me at the Dozen. We had a Dozen live show in New York. Thanks to everyone who came to that. Obviously, Jeff D'Lo puts on a hell of a production, and there were tons of honker fans, tons of basement fans, tons of people that said, yo, I listen to My Mom's Basement, you and Clem all the time. Yo, I just caught up on the Andor stuff. So shout out to all the basement listeners that were there as well. Morgan & Morgan, keeping the lights on for all of us.
Yeah, Morgan & Morgan. I bet, like we said, I bet Keith wish he had Morgan & Morgan. He wouldn't have gotten shipped to the camp, wouldn't have to swim his way and lose some of his best friends that he made in the prison camp. So,
and he never told them his name, right? I was thinking that because they called him Keith in this episode, and I was like, oh, interesting. Like our guy's keeping it down low the whole time.
So that actually is funny. I was thinking, do you think in the season finale, the word Andor has a little gravity? Someone says Andor.
Almost like the end of Black Adam, where they're like, what's your real name? And then it's just like credits. Boom. Yeah.
That actually reminds me, did you pick up on this in the beginning? So every week we have the Andor reveal. Mm-hmm. I almost heard like the Force music in this one. It's like,
was it? Every week I kind of like feel like I have a vibe of what the music is. Some weeks I'm like, it was Stranger Things-esque. Some weeks I'm like, all right, a little more Star Wars-y. Some weeks I feel like it was a little more James Bond-y. I didn't pick up on it this week, but I'm definitely going to go back and rewatch this episode. So I'll listen a little more carefully.
Check it out. And I was like, does this mean we're going to have some sort of a Force episode? Clearly not. A different kind of Force. Yeah. Blunt Force, physical Force.
And another show like where no lightsabers, no Jedi, no people using the Force, no Sith. You don't need them. It's crazy.
No need for it. Yeah.
You really don't need them in this show. And it almost helps in that I'm more likely to recommend this show to a non-Star Wars fan, I think.
I was thinking someone like Feidelberg jumping in and you're going to get all that action in the first three. I think that might help casual fans get into it for the first time instead of being like, whoa, politics and we're talking taxes. You're going to have a strip club, right? That's how it starts. And you're going to have
club, him
execution styles. Yeah, exactly. It's fucking gritty. So that might actually help Andor's case in terms of going to casual fans. I wonder if that was a thought that they wrote up on the big whiteboard. Again, I'm not giving it's a little too early to give Star Wars too much credit for anything right now.
They have one of those whiteboards that you could hold in your hand, you know?
They have to erase it when they're done. Yeah, exactly.
I have a crazy whiteboard conspiracy theory to bring up to you right now.
Yes, I love
it. In the Star Wars universe and the Andor universe. This is not my own theory. Ken Jack texted me about it. He said people are going to speculate about this forever, and I think he's right. Now that Kino has been left behind, is there any chance that he's the only prisoner left behind and he gets punished for it and the Empire starts doing experiments on him? Experiment after experiment. They clone him. They clone a copy of the clone. They clone a copy of the cloned copy. And 30 years down the line, this is the reason why Snoke exists.
As soon as you said that, I said, I think we're getting our Snoke guy. Our Snoke.
Same voice, to the point where he's been experimented on so much that he's unrecognizable, but the Emperor has this secret project, and this is the guy they're taking it out on, so he's got the same voice. Do I think this is the true Star Wars canon story that they're trying to tell here? Probably not. Do I think it'd be cool? Definitely.
This is our Darth Jar Jar. Snoke Kino and Darth Jar Jar. I'm in. Kino and Snoke. I thought our hashtag was going to be one way out. Hashtag one way out or hashtag Kino is Snoke. Those are the hashtags of the episode. I
think it'd be cool. I think it would be a cool way to link everything. This is a prequel to the original trilogy. So in a way, you're linking the prequels and the sequel trilogy like through the original trilogy. I think it'd be cool. I'm here for it, to be honest.
I love it. So that was a Ken Jack idea, or is that something that's just
I don't
been
know if it was
floated around?
necessarily his idea, but he texted me almost like in an "Oh Jesus," he's like, people are never gonna let this down," and I
and
might be one of those people.
and it is one of those things where it's like, all right, I like that there's not really this attachment to everything else in Star Wars. It's like, and he's Snoke, is Snoke.
Did we find out who Snoke is after all? Like, I'm sure Tony Gilroy's like, no, you didn't. No, God, no. Have I not trained you in this show?
See, this is the thing, though, Bob. Like, I would say our thumbnail for this episode on YouTube should just be the one way out, and it's the prison break, or it's like, did we learn who Snoke was in episode?
Kino next to a picture of Snoke, like question mark.
Big yellow font. I can see it in my fucking head. Everything is the goddamn same these days on YouTube and everything. I like this. I like this a lot.
I don't hate the theory. It's a crazy out there conspiracy theory. It's somewhere on the whiteboard. It's it's got a circle, question mark, star. Like maybe use that in the future. Not confirmed, but it's on the whiteboard.
You know what's funny about me? I hate real life conspiracy theories so much
Same.
because I think they're so like I've always been like, if you don't think we land on the fucking moon, get the fuck out of the United States.
Same.
We needed that shit to be Russia, and we fucking did it. We're fucking America. Be proud of yourselves. And then I mean, I don't have to go into the conspiracy theories that have gone around the last few years.
No, go into them, rattle them off.
Yeah, let's rattle them off. There's our thumbnail. You want to start talking conspiracy theories? We'll get the most watches in the history of any Barstool content. We'll get
Clem
fired.
QAnon.
Oh my god!
Oh god, we have fun here.
But this one and Darth Jar Jar, like, sign me the fuck up. Sign
us up. Team them up. Team them up together. The next Tales of the Jedi should be Darth Jar Jar and Snoke stories. Tales of the Sith.
You should know the story of Darth Bridge.
All right. So speaking of cold scenes, we end the episode with the coldest scene of the series, I'll say. Coldest scene of the series. Colder than executing a cop in the alleyways of whatever planet that was.
I'm going to say coldest scene of this year in Star Wars. I'm trying to think of anything.
No doubt.
Right? There's nothing in Boba or Obi-Wan that's as cold as this.
You're right.
Darth Cat Vader killing that dude was pretty fucked.
Oh, and Darth Vader when in front of his kids,
snapping
necks. That was pretty cold. All right, there's been some cold scenes. This is still
the coldest
scene that's just dialogue. Series. Oh my god, this was the one where I tweeted, "Give it all the Emmys." Like this is you thought you got the best episode already, and then they took it to another level. This is the cherry on top of the prison break. That Imperial assistant is walking through the streets of a slummy planet. Kind of a underworld underbelly of Coruscant vibe. We actually see a couple aliens, which we generally haven't seen in Andor because of the whole prison setup. Look, some cool looking aliens while he gets to this elevator. Gets there, puts on an earpiece, and then he hears Luthen's voice. Like, if this is a trap, press the buttons for 215 or whatever. So I guess they, if he's being watched. He doesn't do it. And the first thing Luthen says, he goes, "Congratulations on your daughter." And right away, I got a weird vibe from Luthen where I was like, I kind of thought you were like my guy, but that's a scummy thing to start doing. Like, oh, I know you have a baby. Did you feel the same way?
I said it was scummy, but it's one of those things that always works. It's like, oh, now I have your attention. And whether it's in a movie where you give the guy a piece of paper and it's like on that piece of paper is the address of your home and all your children's school and the name of all your children's schools and their teachers. And you're like, oh, this guy means fucking business.
This you're being watched at that point, which is the creepiest thing in the like being watched is just so creepy. Like you're being stalked. And he's like, he says it's not fair. He's like, it's not fair that you're watching me and you know all this about me. He's like, oh, what? It's been a year. I'm just congratulating you. And you're like, oh God.
And we've kind of like fallen in love with Luthen. Like, oh, we love Luthen. He's a little cavalier. He has a little
rings, his little wig, yeah. But no, he's like, I mean, you need guys like this to fight the Empire. Because guess what? The Empire's doing the same moves to their people. You need someone on the Rebels that you know what? He's a crazy guy making these sacrifices, but without him, do the Rebels exist? I don't know. Probably not.
The Empire is killing your kids first or making your kids orphans and then being like, see, this is what happens when you fuck with the Empire. He has to at least make you think that that's a possibility. So then you're like, all right, this guy means business. Let me shape up and not fuck him over or else I'm going to, fuck my family over.
And when this guy says like, are you not like thinking of me at all? And he's like, no, I've told you, like, I think about you all the time. I think about the sacrifice you make. For a second, I thought this was going to be Luthen's son. And that he was like, we haven't talked in a year. I'm surprised it's been whatever. I don't think it is. But they finally meet face to face. So they get up there, or no, before this even, He's still in the elevator, and he tells Luthen all about Dedra, tells him about the search for Axis, tells him it's, they're linking it to Aldhani, and Luthen downplays it completely to this guy. He's like, oh, yeah, tell them to keep looking into that. They're wasting their time. We were invited to Aldhani, and we turned it down. It can't be the reason you're here, though, right? And he's like, well, no. They know about Krieger. They know about Spellhouse. They're walking into a complete trap. And he goes, well, they'll think it's a lot weirder if we don't show up. They'll think we know. So 50 men are worth you. They're going to die, but that's okay. Another line where you're like, Luthen,
fuck.
You're sending Anto Krieger and 50 men to a suicide mission to die? Like, that they're going to die. And he's like, they're worth you. Yeah, you're about 50 men. It's like, oh, fuck. Okay. So then they meet face to face, and the elevator door opens. What a cool visual this was. They're like on a catwalk. I don't know how high up. God knows how high up. And they just stand there, and Luthen's kind of in the shadows. He's still in the elevator. And the guy's name is Lonnie. He says, I can't do this anymore. I'm a father now. I have a kid. I did not expect to feel the way I felt when I had a kid. And Luthen's like, what are you going to tell the Imperials? That you're just walking away? And he goes, yeah, my health is in bad condition. He's like, okay, well, you and I both know you can't do that. They're not going to let you out, and neither are we. You and me took a vow, and we're here in the long run. We need you. You're a hero in this rebellion, and we need heroes like you. And you're not going anywhere. And Lonnie goes, what do you sacrifice? Do you sacrifice anything? Oh my God. Stellan Skarsgård ate up this fucking line right after he said, do you sacrifice anything?
You guys got to watch the YouTube. Bob Fox is doing Uncle Bella right there. He's doing the Italian hand here, the pinched fingers. I couldn't believe you were doing that.
It's so good, though. He said, I sacrifice calm. I sacrifice kinship. I sacrifice kindness. I sacrifice love. I share my dreams with ghosts. I have no peace. I have no, morals anymore. All of that's been thrown out the window.
I've made my mind a sunless space. What a fucking line. I've made my mind a sunless space. I tell my dreams to ghosts. Fucking Luthen.
Some of the best lines I've ever heard in anything. Like those are the sickest, most metal lines. I share my dreams with ghosts. I've made my mind a sunless place. I'm gonna write that into a fucking pop punk song tomorrow.
I'll say that's a tattoo you could put on your fucking arm right now, and I'd be like, yep, that is. And you know what the most important thing about this is? Our boy Luthen pulls off a cape better than I've seen anyone this side of Lord Vader.
That's probably why he was so high up. He was like, we got to get this cape blown in the wind.
He's like, yeah, we're going to do this on floor 14 because the wind there and that tunnel howls, and he sees me in my cape, and I throw the fucking line about sunless space and dreams of ghosts. This guy, Lonnie, is going to go crawling back to the Empire as my little spy. And poor Lonnie, listen, and again, I already, Georges took it on the chin earlier in this podcast. When your name is Lonnie, it's going to be very hard for people to be like, all right, you can break the vow that we had. Lonnie is not a very strong name. I apologize.
A letter away from Lenny.
That's true. That's true as well. So just an absolute, our boy Lonnie is a victim of his name. He's been in it
for 6 years. He said he's been with the Imperials undercover. Imagine playing a role every day when you wake up for 6 years. It's got to drive you insane. And I wouldn't be surprised. This show got so dark. I wouldn't be so surprised if they walk into an Imperial meeting and they're like, Lonnie killed himself with a blaster yesterday.
Yeah, and that's going to fall. And then his daughter's going to be Leia. No, Leia's already born. I know it's not his daughter. That's Anakin's daughter. I'm always thinking of the ways to connect it down the road. Fuck. I always thought this too. In movies, they always say please, I have a family. And then it's like, is that going to get you saved? Or it's like, oh, he has a family. And it makes you a bigger target. And our boy Lonnie found out the hard way, man. It's no fucking good to have a goddamn these fuckers, man. I'm telling you. And Lonnie, that's the other thing about Lonnie. I'm like, oh, he looks Weasley. He also looks tired. I'm thinking it's from I imagine being a spy in the Empire is a terrifying thing. This guy has a fucking newborn at home. Do you know how hard it is to sleep during newborns? You guys have seen the degradation of my life over the last shit. Sienna turns on the 11th.
7 or 8, right?
8 years old.
Yeah.
It's been 8 years of slowly dying. You've seen it on my face. Our boy Lonnie is just taking his first steps in this. Oh, and then he thinks he has a fucking friend. He's going to see him for the first time in a year. The guy is fucking up his elevator, threatening his family. Cape blowing in the wind, telling about talking to dreams with ghosts. Our boy Lonnie, man, he had a tough one this episode, man.
And I think he really thought he was going to get out of it. I think part of him thought because like it was Luthen said, like, what do you think? You brought me a gift basket full of information and you could get
That was
out of here?
great.
He kind of did bring him a gift basket. Like, he told him about Dedra, he told him about Axis, he told him about Aldani, he told him about Krieger. He was like, if I just bring him all this information, maybe it'll be like, all right, I could get out of here, right? I'm all good. You're good with what you got for me? Yeah.
It's like,
No.
hey, Dave, I want to go work for a competing company, but here's the shirts that I just sold. They were awesome.
Yeah,
Here's the,
like the girl from Business Insider, blah blah blah, like whatever. Like, can I go work for DraftKings? He'd be like, "Fuck no! What are you crazy?"
What an idiot! What a fucking idiot!
Yeah.
I'm surprised Dave had. Do you think Dave, at some point, as he keeps getting richer, do you think he's ever going to try to pull off a cape?
He should. I don't know if he will, but he should.
He should. I'm interested to see if Dave will ever try to pull off a cape right now. So we're saying this on November 10th, 2022. In the next,
give it 3 years. Give the fashion time to change.
I was gonna say by the age of 50. And what is he right now? He's 40.
Oh, that's even more. I think he's like 43, 44.
40. I'll say 44, 45. So we'll say in the next 5 years. We'll say 5 years. Dave will try to pull off a cape. And you think he can do it. You think he can pull off. There's two things, trying to pull it off and then pulling it off.
Honestly, I saw him pull off that ridiculous outfit in London with the top hat, the monocle, all that. I think he could do it. I think he's on that level where he throws a cape on and there's, 100 college kids, 100,000 college kids that go like, all right, we got to go get capes.
Yep. The purple starfish he pulled off, right?
Yep.
So if he could pull that off, he could pull a cape off. The only thing is, like, he's a Seinfeld guy. The Drake, I believe, is the guy who was with the cape. So I'd be interested to see if that would stop him.
He's also an Andor guy. I would love to know his thoughts on the latest episode, to be honest. I might have to text him this week.
I was actually hoping you had texted him already because I had talked to Large on Podfathers and I said, hey, have you watched Andor yet? Have you started? He goes, I'm all caught up except for this episode. And I go, oh, buddy, you are going to have yourself a treat. And I told him, I was like, get your snacks out, lights off, and we just direct full attention because you're going to have yourself a real good show.
It feels so good to have a show like this.
It does. We put in a lot of work with a lot of bad shows this year, and to finally have it just come back and hit for us, I'm very, very happy. I'm happy for us. I'm happy for the listeners, everyone in the basement. We did it, everybody. We fucking did it together. Mission accomplished. Fly banners. There's no way the next few episodes could possibly go wrong. There's no way Star Wars could crash the ship. We did it. We fucking did it.
In Gilroy, we trust. Our guy Tony Gilroy.
Yes.
He just can't make mistakes, this guy. Let's tell all of the people about HelloFresh, another company that does not make mistakes. Save money on dinner and HelloFresh and put it towards your holiday shopping. HelloFresh is cheaper than grocery shopping and 25% less expensive than takeout. Over 35 weekly recipes. There's something to please everyone. It's not like that prison food in Andor. This is the good stuff right here. Not flavorless. This has the most flavor in the galaxy.
Flavor packed.
Exactly. You can also easily customize these recipes by swapping proteins or sides, upgrading to choice proteins, or even adding a protein to a veggie meal. So if you see a meal that you love everything in it, but you don't like one of the sides, you don't like one of the ingredients, swap it out. It's so easy. You could make it the meal for yourself. The quality is their priority. So their ingredients travel from the farm to your home in less than 7 days. You know it's going to be fresh when it arrives. The busy days and late nights call for more flexibility, and that is why they have plans that work with your schedule. You can change your preferences, delivery day, and address in just a few clicks. If you're going on vacation, you could get HelloFresh delivered out to wherever you're going on vacation as well. We've made this HelloFresh stuff. We've told you about it. The cheesy chicken. That's our favorite meal. That's the My Mom's Basement meal. If you were to label one that. Oh, so good. The carrots on the side. I love it. Go to HelloFresh.com/Robbie65, ROBBIE65, and use that same promo code Robbie65 for 65% off your order plus free shipping. That's ROBBIE65 at HelloFresh.com/Robbie65. Such good stuff at HelloFresh. They're the best.
65% off and free shipping. I'm thinking they're going to get you with the shipping. No, they give it to you both. If you could get, like in Star Wars, if you get a deal like that, you're going to get thrown into a prison.
This is the kind of deal that honestly the rebels got to capitalize on. We know that they're scrappy. We know they don't have a ton of money. Honestly, you might be seeing some HelloFresh boxes outside Mon Mothma's apartment after she has to pay off Davo.
That's true.
The daughter and the husband are probably going to be like, you didn't get the proteins we like. But it's like, listen, They're coming next week. Okay.
I want shrimp. I want shrimp. That's the husband saying it too. That's not the daughter. I want shrimp. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, you fucking dickhead, just shut up.
You're like, we'll have shrimp tomorrow. Like, just shut up. It's already in the fridge. Like, you're not happy with this. Before we get out of here on this episode, any predictions for the final two episodes, 11 and 12, which are being sold as the finale? People are saying like it's kind of a two-part finale. So,
okay,
the penultimate next week, kind of a finale. This was kind of the penultimate.
This was a fucking beast.
It was a perfect one, if you want to call it that. Yeah.
Yeah. I also the way he sold Deidre too. I was like, oh shit. So she is as big as we're led to believe. Okay, we're meeting Uncle Harlow. That's the first one because I needed to.
We're gonna meet Uncle Harlow. Do Dedra and Serial share like a romantic connection? I'm not saying like a kiss or sex or anything, but do they make it known that like they're together?
I want to, yeah, maybe something forces them to like have to do that, you know, kind of the whole like have to act some way.
And where are we going? Do you think we're going back to Ferrex because of the Marva tease and like Cassian will try to get back to his mom, or do you think we're going to another planet that we don't know about?
I think Marva is cooked before the season's over, so we have to get there. I don't know if Andor is gonna get there, how he can get there, right? Because he's kind of
like, is he on that Miami planet still? Did they just put him on prison like in the middle of the ocean?
No, he got shipped out. Remember?
You're right. You're right.
Yeah, that Nakina 5 or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but how is he gonna get back? Would word travel that Marva died? There's gonna be some sort.
Who's Andor gonna like link up with? You know, that could like get him to wherever he needs to go. Is it Bix he reaches out to? Is it just him and Melshi? Like, does Melshi know enough about ships to? I don't know.
So maybe isn't Bix going on the? I don't know what she would now after she had to hear those fucking kids dying.
Yeah, what
but
state is
she has that
in
equipment where she's been talking to people, right? I don't think she's going to go back on there now.
No, she can't. They know about that. Yeah,
the Empire's watching her, but I do feel like there has to be a way for him to see. I think he's going to have to see Marva be, you know, her dead body at some point.
We didn't see Bix after that, did we? After the torture?
No, I don't think so.
Is he going to go back to like Fix as a vegetable, or she's like brain dead, or like something like that? Like this show, I'm not putting anything past him at this point.
Dark shit.
We're talking suicide. Like, yeah,
we're dealing with betrothals and death. We're in Thrones world right now, kids. And let me tell you, for the people who are Star Wars people that don't venture into the throne side of town, it ain't pretty. It ain't fun. It's pretty fucked
Guess
up,
what? That word hope that we have in Star Wars, throw that out the window in Thrones. That will never be muttered.
You get a glimmer of that hope, and you're like, oh, I love this character. And then a wedding happens, and everyone dies. And then another guy comes up. You're like, I like him. Then the wedding comes, and everyone fucking dies.
Everyone's died. Yeah.
So, you know what? I'm going to say there's going to be a wedding. We're going to get a wedding at some point. You know what? I'm going to call it now.
Mothma wedding.
Yeah. The Davos son and her daughter, and kill those two fucking. They all suck. Everyone, we know Mothma survives, right? So we'll let everyone fucking at that wedding die except for Mon Mothma.
And that might be her numbness that we see in the original trilogy as well. Like her whole family's dead, and it's like she cared more about the rebellion than them in a way where it's not like she's a scumbag for it. It's like, no, we get it.
What if the wedding is in Botha, where the Bothans live, and they all died to get that information? So yeah, I'm going off the rails right now with my guesses here, but Uncle Harlow, Serial,
Vel, we're gonna get more of, I bet. She was kind of spying on, she was spying on Andor a little bit, right? She was kind of seeing what his friends were up to and all that. I mean, she was originally told to like kill him because he's a loose end.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know if she still wants to do that. I don't know how she feels. I think we're definitely gonna get the Imperials, Dedra probably mainly, finding out that, oh, wait a minute, this guy we've been looking for, we had in prison the whole time. And then that's going to be a whole fucking like, are you kidding me? He escaped the prison we had him in.
Do you think, and that was the other thing I wanted to ask, do you think it's going to be like after Aldhani, where you're hearing on the news like Prison Break and Nakina 5, there's a war prison with prisoners being held for petty crimes.
The worst, or on the news, they might say it's the worst crimes in the world to try to like swing, the propaganda. The emperor maybe we'll get like an emperor speech over a radio or something. That would be sick.
Ooh, the voice. I mean,
just the voice. Like, we know the emperor is legit the emperor of the galaxy, so he should be out and about like making speeches at this point, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That would be cool. That'd be a cool way to do fan service without really doing fan service. And
Do you
we
think we
know.
get Luthen?
Do we get Luthen in the next 2 episodes?
Do you think he's in the next 2 episodes, or do you think that was kind of his moment? Because that could be kind of his walk off for the season.
It could be, but I think we'll get him.
Okay.
Like, honestly, wouldn't shock me if he died.
Yeah, me too.
The way he kind of gave that speech saying, like, I've sacrificed everything for this rebellion, that might be his last hurrah in a way, where it's like, you just want the audience to know how much he fucking gave for this rebellion before he's out of here.
It's like the guy who, one day till retirement, then I'm retiring my wife and we're going around the world. It's like, that guy's dead.
But Luthen, if I had it my way, I want more of him in season 2, just for the acting. Like, he elevates the show so much.
I want him and Kino to be roommates.
Yeah.
Best case scenario in Clem's little fantasy world, those guys are a fucking wacky duo, and it's like Kino, and they're having. Imagine these two fucking monologuing off against each other every morning.
It'd be amazing. Circus plays the assistant to Tesla in The Prestige, to like Nikolai Tesla, who's played by David Bowie. Andy Serkis plays his assistant. What if, Luthen's assistant, something happens to her, and then Kino comes in? He could basically just play the same role. He's Luthen's assistant.
I fucking did not remember that Andy Serkis is in The Prestige. The Prestige.
One of my favorite movies of all
time. One of my favorite movies of all. It's like, it's not on my top 10 or anything, but
it might be in my top 10, to be honest.
For me, it's someone that, what it's like, I'm not sure if people have seen it. I'm like, if you haven't seen it, you're going to fucking love it. And The Prestige is right there. Let's see what it is on IMDb. Actually, I hate to do this to the competitor. I won't say it.
Yeah.
We'll do movie rankings. Movierankings.net.
See what they gave it. It's my favorite Christopher Nolan movie that's not, The Dark Knight. That's not a Batman movie. And it does have a lot of superheroes in it, actually. It's got Batman. It's got Wolverine. It's got Alfred. It's got Black Widow. There might be another one.
You named, and then obviously you want to go Gollum or whatever the fuck you want to give Circus as.
Or Ulysses Claw.
Yep.
If you want to keep it in the comic book world.
85 from Jeff, 86 from Kenjack, 85 from the audience. And it was 8.5 on IMDb.
I love The Prestige so much. I think it's the greatest movie ever made about a rivalry. That's like the greatest. The magician rivalry in that movie is so fucking good when they're showing up to each other's tricks and, with the bullet and all of that stuff. If you haven't seen The Prestige, there's your My Mom's Basement homework for the week.
The Prestige is the Andor of magician movies. Boom. If that's not a fucking, put it on the movie poster that came out 16 years ago. By the way, Rotten Tomatoes, 76 from the critics, 92 from the audience. And again, audience wins again. Yep.
92 feels like a rightful score for that movie. All right.
So I want everyone to give their predictions below. Give your predictions for you're going to see her. It's going to happen in a double finale. Sounds fucking awesome. That gets me really excited. I feel like we can cover a lot of ground from a lot of planets with a lot of different characters. Are we doing hashtag? The original hashtag was Snoke? One Way Out, or hashtag Kino is Snoke. I like that one.
I like too. Kino is Snoke because people are probably hashtagging One Way Out for the show in general.
That's true.
So they'll get lost. Kino is Snoke. I like, and also stay tuned because I don't know when we're gonna do this or upload it. But Wakanda Forever comes out today as we're recording it. So we'll definitely have a review sometime in the next week.
Yep, for sure. For sure.
I got my tickets. I can't wait. Wakanda Forever.
Wakanda Forever.
All right. See you guys soon. I think so.